Did you know that 80% of cruisers say their cabin selection greatly impacts their overall cruise experience? But with so many choices, how do you know which one is perfect for you? By the end of this video, you'll know how to pick the best Virgin Voyages cabin for your voyage, what to expect from the cabin layout, size, and amenities, and finally, if the cabins differ across Virgin Voyages ships. Let's get started. So Virgin Voyages has 4 main categories of cabins. There's the Insider, there's Sea View cabins, Terrace Cabins, and then there are their Rockstar cabins. They have 2 different types of Rockstar. One is their regular Rockstar, and then the next is their Mega Rockstars. So now let's kind of just jump into the individual cabins and the amenities that they have. All the cabins that I'm going to go over, every single cabin, when you book your cruise with Virgin Voyages, they come with some main inclusions. You have basic Wi-Fi that's included, soda water, tips in your gratuities, all the dining on board is included, fitness classes are included, and also all entertainment is included. So the first cabin type we're going to talk about is the Insider cabin. The Insider cabin can fit up to 1 to 4 sailors. It's between 105 and 177 square feet and is located either midship or the forward of the ship or front of the ship. It also has no windows and is considered to be an inside cabin. The next cabin type is called a Sea View. Now, Sea Views do have a porthole and also have a window seat. They can fit up to 1 to 4 sailors. They're around 130 to 190 square feet as far as the size of them, depending upon where they are on the ship. And they're actually located in the aft or forward of the ship. So that's either the back of the ship or the front of the ship. The next choice is a Sea Terrace. And this, I would say, is probably one of the most popular choices or cabin types on Virgin Voyages. They can fit probably ideally 2 to 4 sailors. They're 185 to 225 square feet, depending upon where you are on the ship. And they're located on the middle of the ship, the back of the ship, and also at the forward of the ship. All these cabins, because they're Sea Terraces, come with a balcony, and they also come with a hammock. Now, there are some Sea Terraces, depending upon where they are on the ship, that may have more like a swing, but it just depends on the location. Usually those are kind of like the ones that are kind of in the corner of the ship. I should also say too that the central Sea Terraces, because they're in the middle of the ship, are really ideal for those people who experience motion sickness or who are concerned about seasickness, because when you're in the middle of the ship, that's actually the best location, not just even in the middle of the ship, but also lower down on the ship. So next we're going to talk about our Rockstar Suite. So we're going to talk about just the regular Rockstar Suite. The Rockstar Suite can fit up from 2 to 4 sailors. It has about 352 to 387 square feet. So they all come with a balcony with hammocks. They come with sun loungers, so you get more space out on your terraces. They're on your balconies. They all have a European king bed, and they all have large marble bathrooms. Some of the perks that come with the Rockstar cabins is you get access to what's called Richard's Rooftop, which is kind of an exclusive area that's, I think, on deck 16 of all of the lady ships. Also, there's a curated in-room bar where you can actually identify what kinds of alcoholic beverages that you like, and they fill your cabin with those. It's not bottomless, but you do have, they do post them there one time. You have access to early booking 60 days prior to your voyage. You can book all of your entertainment. You can book spa treatments. You can also book sea excursions. So you get earlier access to it. Most people can only book 45 days prior to their sailing. The other thing too is you have priority boarding on your day that you're actually boarding the ship. You can board anytime between 1:45 and when they actually, I think it's 5 p.m. But you have priority boarding, so you can be one of the first people on the ship. And I should also mention that for Rockstars, they have what's called a Rockstar agent. This is almost like, I would say, a butler on other cruise lines. So this Rockstar agent is kind of accessible to you 24/7. If there's a particular restaurant you may not have been able to get reservations for, they can get the reservation for you. They basically can take care of all your needs while you're actually staying on one of the Virgin Voyages lady ships. So our next category of Rockstar is called the Mega Rockstar. And the Mega Rockstar, there are actually 6 different suite types. They range from around 570 to like 2,100 square feet, depends on where they are on the ship. Usually all of the Mega Rockstar cabins or suites are on the forward of the ship or the front of the ship. They all, again, come with balconies. They come with loungers. They you actually have an outdoor peekaboo shower as well. Peekaboo shower. I don't know why I can't say peekaboo. Peekaboo shower in the bathroom as well, where from the bathroom you can actually, there's a window that you can look out into the actual main area of the suite. There are a couple of additional perks that I mentioned when we talked about just the regular Rockstar that the Mega Rockstars have. And one is they have bottomless drinks. You basically, let's say you have said you want X, Y number of beers, or, other type of alcoholic beverages, or just other kinds of just non-alcoholic beverages. Let's say you've used all of them up, they will come back and replenish them. So as much as you want, they will provide it for you. Another big thing I think too with Mega is that you can have daily spa access as well. So any day you want to go to the Redemption Spa or the Thermal Suites, you can do that. Also too, you get free bar tab. So bar tab is Virgin Voyages drink package, but it's really for alcoholic drinks. So anywhere on the ship you want to get a drink, you can get a drink. You're not paying any extra for that. It's all included in your fare because you have a Mega Rockstar Suite. The other thing too is you have access to be able to be picked up from the airport, brought to the ship or to the actual terminal to board the ship. Also, if you're driving yourself, you have complimentary parking and wherever you're boarding, whether it's Miami or San Juan or wherever the port is that you're boarding from. Just like the Rockstars, you also have access to that Rockstar agent. So you have access to them 24/7 while you're on the ship to take care of all your needs. So let's now talk about who is good for some of the cabins. So let's talk about first our solo travelers. So solo travelers, the ideal cabin probably for you is going to be there's an inside cabin. If you're okay with being in a cabin that has no windows, that would be your best option. One, because that cabin is priced based on a solo traveler. So it's more economical from that standpoint. I would say also another good option is going to be the sea view, where you have the access to being able to see outside because you have a porthole or an actual porthole window seat, depending upon where you are on the ship. If you actually want more space, if that's just your thing and you want to have a terrace, you could probably upgrade then to a sea terrace. And the sea terrace is, they have the central sea terrace, which is in the middle of the ship, or just a sea terrace that could be like on the aft or the forward of the ship. So I would say though, to recommend an option for solo travelers, I would probably definitely recommend either the insider cabin or a sea view. So let's now talk about couples. So if you're going on a cruise, this is 2 people in a cabin. I would highly recommend probably a sea terrace. If you're not like really into having to go outside or wanting to have a terrace, you could do a sea view as well. I would not probably recommend an insider just because it's going to be a lot smaller for you, but I would recommend either a sea terrace or a sea view. Also, if you're looking for like a little extra special treatment or VIP treatment, I recommend probably looking at either the Rockstar or Mega Rockstar. And I talked about those already with all the inclusions that come with those. So now let's say you're a group of friends, maybe 2 or 3 friends, or maybe even 4 friends traveling together. I would say you probably definitely want to look at some of the larger cabins, because while some of the sea views or insiders can fit up to 4 people, I think it's going to be a big cramp just based on the amount of square footage that's available in those cabins. So I really would recommend a sea terrace that can fit up to 4, but it might be a tight squeeze just based on the size of the cabin and just, that many people, but you could definitely do it. Also too, you could consider Rockstar cabins as well. And they also have something that's called an extra large sea terrace. The extra large sea terrace, you have more space for the bathroom, but not necessarily in the other part of the cabin, like the main part of the cabin that you're staying in. So the extra large sea terrace, will definitely give you more space. I would highly recommend that probably for people who are traveling like 3 people or more, just because it gives you more space in the bathroom, and it kind of reconfigures the main cabin just slightly to make it more a little bit boxy and give you appearance of more space there. Now for our luxury travelers, definitely highly recommend the Rockstar or the Mega Rockstar. Those would be your best options because of all the VIP perks that I mentioned. Also too, just you have your own special access or area that when you actually get to the Virgin Voyages terminal in Miami, you have your own entrance, you have your own kind of sitting area, waiting area until you're ready to board the ship, and all the perks and VIP treatment that I mentioned. So that's what I would really recommend for our luxury travelers, is to do that. I will also say too, like let's say you are a couple or luxury traveler, whomever. The Virgin does have things like Splash of Romance that I do plan on doing a video about. So tell me below if that's something you'd be interested in seeing. But Splash of Romance, they have different packages that can kind of enhance your experience without necessarily having to be in a Rockstar cabin. So with Splash of Romance, you get priority boarding. You get 3 hours in a redemption spa. You get some other perks and some treatment as well. There are some other ways to kind of just enhance your onboard experience while traveling on Virgin Voyages as well. Now we know, are there differences in the cabins depending upon the lady ship that you're sailing on. So Virgin is going to have up to 4 lady ships. There's Scarlet, Resilient, Valiant, and then there's Brilliant Lady, that's going to be coming out in September of 2025. So between the 4 ships, the cabin types are really no different. Brilliant is going to have a slightly different, slimmer feel as far as the ship goes, but all the cabin types are the same. I also believe too that Brilliant is going to have slightly more of certain suites. But as far as the layout of the cabins and what the cabins are called, they're all called the exact same thing on any of the lady ships that you actually board. So you don't have to worry about, or you don't have to go and figure out which cabin based on which ship. I can also help you with that as a cruise specialist around just determining like what might be your best option as far as the cruise ship or selling on Virgin Voyages in general. So how do you probably get the best selection when you're thinking about booking with or reserving with Virgin Voyages? Booking early or reserving early is going to be your best option. You're going to get the most value for your dollar. Also, too, you have the most options and selections available, because what I have noticed with Virgin, as I'm doing reservations for different clients, is that if people come later, the selection of the cruise, like you may not have as many options for cabin availability. And sometimes the cruise can get sold out, and that's also can happen. So I would say I would always recommend reserving a lot earlier, because that actually helps you to get the best selections for your actual cruising or your voyage that you're looking for. And when I say early, it could be a year out, it could be 18 months out, as far out as you can, as far as where there's availability of sailings that the cruise line is provided. Another thing too that I'll mention in this section is there are Virgin, just like other cruise lines as well, they have kind of a bid up program that usually the closer you get to your sailing, you'll receive an email that's asking you if you want to kind of bid on another one of their different cabin types. And that's an option too, like if you're in a sea terrace or even in a sea view and you want to go to a sea terrace, where you can actually bid, based on what you want to bid. And they do give you kind of a range just to give you an idea of what you might win. But that's one way where you can do it where you're getting more value for your dollar, where you could maybe potentially bid a little bit lower and still move up in cabin versus what you would have paid necessarily to when you made the reservation initially. And this goes all the way up as far as even the Rockstar cabin. So not just sea views, sea terraces, but even you can bid up to even a Rockstar, and you could possibly get a Rockstar for a lot lower than you might have paid if you just went ahead and booked one. But that's an option. I will still always say though that if you definitely want a certain cabin type, just because of the popularity of Virgin Voyages cruise, the cruises as of late, I would recommend just going ahead and reserving your cabin that you're looking for, just to make sure you get what you're looking for. So now that you know how to pick the best cabin for your next Virgin Voyage, check out my video about boarding day, where I'll tell you all about tips for your best experience on your first day boarding a Virgin Voyages cruise. And also check out my video on determining if Virgin Voyages is the best cruise line for you, if you still have that question. Take care.